6 years ago, I quit my job and landed a new role as a cloud engineer in just 90 days. No computer science degree, no prior cloud experience. And today, in 2026, the opportunity is so much bigger than it was back then. Companies are spending almost $700 billion on AI and cloud infrastructure this year alone. And that's after spending $320 billion in 2025. Over 1,000 cloud engineering jobs are being posted in the US every single day. And yet the problem is, most people trying to break in are still following outdated advice. Collect certifications, follow YouTube tutorials, and then they're wondering why they can't get interviews. Hi, I'm Suleiman. I've been working in tech since 2015 at just 18 years old. I was earning $18,000 a year. From there, I worked my way all the way up to earning multiple six figures in tech. Today, I'm running my own businesses across cloud and AI consulting, software, and my education company, where I've helped more than 900 IT professionals, engineers, and career switchers master cloud engineering and actually land six-figure jobs, including at companies like AWS. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step roadmap to go from zero experience to hired as a cloud engineer in 90 days. I'm also going to show you a portfolio project strategy that I gatekeep for my students inside of my academy, and nobody's talking about this, and it would genuinely separate you from every other candidate. But first, let's start with what you actually need to learn, because once you understand this, everything else is just going to click. Now, before you even touch AWS, you need to lay the foundation. And I know this isn't the shiny new thing that you want to do. I know you want to skip ahead and start deploying things and breaking things. But if you skip the fundamentals, you will struggle later down the line. It is more important than ever before because AI tools are making it easier to build things without actually understanding them. And that's really dangerous on the one hand, but it also means the people who actually understand what's happening under the hood are becoming even more valuable. Now, first, you need to understand how the internet actually works. How does data travel from your computer to a server on the other side of the world and then back? Once you understand that, the cloud stops being this abstract thing. From there, what is cloud computing? Why do companies even move to the cloud? What are the deployment models? Public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and then the service models: infrastructure service, platform as service, software as service. As a cloud engineer, you are mostly operating in the infrastructure service and platform as a service world, so understanding where you sit in that stack really matters. You also need to understand the software development lifecycle, the SDLC, how software gets built, tested, deployed, and maintained. Because as a cloud engineer, you are building the infrastructure that supports the entire process. And if you don't understand it, you won't understand why CI/CD pipelines and infrastructure as code matter later on. Then there is the 5 core IT areas. Networking. This is probably one of the most important. IP addresses, subnets, DNS, basic routing, everything in the cloud runs on networking. So if you don't understand what networking is, that you're going to be lost. Operating systems, specifically Linux. The cloud runs on Linux machines, so you need to get comfortable with the command line. Virtualization. This is what makes cloud computing possible in the first place. Databases, both relational and non-relational. And security, which is not something that you bolt on at the end. 61% of companies got breached last year. The average cost of a data breach is almost $5 million. Security has to be part of your thinking from day one. There's plenty of resources that break these concepts down really well. I've got a cloud engineer course on my channel, which you'll find super helpful. The goal here is to build enough understanding so that when you start learning AWS, everything just clicks into place. So once you have the fundamentals down, it's time to pick a cloud platform: AWS, Azure, or GCP. And I need you to understand that this decision isn't one that you should spend too much time on. I picked AWS, and it's the one that I'm sticking with for the foreseeable future. AWS has by far the most cloud services, the largest market share, which means more job opportunities for you. They've also got the most extensive free tier, so you can build projects without spending any money. And everything that you learn on AWS transfers directly and easily to GCP and Azure. It's all the same. They just label things differently with different names. Now, AWS has over 200 services, but the fastest way for you to get a job is to narrow your focus and build a deeper expertise in the core services. EC for compute, S3 for storage, IAM for identity access management, VPC for networking. That's the core 4. From there, you've got other key services that pop up in virtually every job listing, or they are a requirement for your work in production systems. So I'm just going to rattle these off now. ECS, Lambda, Re53, Elastic Load Balancer, API Gateway, CloudFront, CloudWatch, CloudTra, RDS. And because it's 2026 and every single company is very much becoming an AI company right now, you also need to learn how to leverage Amazon Bedrock. And once you've got the services, and I know I keep hammering on about this, but it definitely works and it'll help you land a six-figure job. So listen up. You have to understand how these services connect to each other, which is just as important as knowing what each one does individually. It's called systems thinking. Why would you choose EC2 versus Lambda? When would you choose RDS versus DynamoDB? What are the trade-offs? What are the constraints? These are the questions that come up in interviews and on real projects. You'd be shocked by how many people cannot explain the simple concepts behind these core services. They've memorized the names, but they can't tell you when or why you would actually use it. And that is the difference between someone who has learned the theoretical side of cloud engineering and someone who could actually operate in it. Now, if you're serious about getting hired as a cloud engineer in 2026 and you want my personal help, just check the link in the description below. There's a short video that breaks down my first principles blueprint, which is the exact methodology that allowed me to quit my job and land 2 job offers in the cloud in just 90 days. After that, you can fill in a short application and book a call with my team. You don't need prior experience. It does help if you're coming from cybersecurity, help desk, software engineering, systems admin, network engineering, right? But everything is laid out for you step by step. And we, unlike others, are getting real results right now. Travon and Eric both landed cloud engineering roles just last week. And then Tomislav also landed a new role as a platform engineer this week, literally in March 2026. Now, just because they've got jobs doesn't mean that you automatically will, right? Obviously not. It still requires hard work, dedication, time, and showing up consistently. It's not a magic pill, but if you're looking for the fastest route into the industry with the best approach that actually works right now in 2026, then click the link below, watch the short video, and book a call with my team. I'd love to help. Right, on to step 3. Don't get AWS certified. Now, this is going to upset quite a few people, so please just let me explain before you start spamming in the comments that certs are great and you're getting jobs, right? You're not. Let's be real. Don't get AWS certified at the beginning. Save it for later, and here is why. I've been hiring engineers for my own AI cloud security consultancy for years, and I skip straight past the certifications and the education section on people's resume. I look at a portfolio projects and prior IT experience, and right now, hiring managers are doing the same thing. So if you're on the path to get certified right now, unless you've got some real hands-on skills, stop chasing certifications because on their own, they don't get you hired. And most people spend 6 months trying to get certified, never even end up booking their exam. So they just waste 6 months not getting any closer to landing an actual role. Now, I'm not saying to never get certified. I'm saying they guide you through your journey at the start, especially when you're not sure what to learn. The problem is that people get the certification and then they think they're ready to apply for jobs. People on the internet have been promising you that you could just go do one certification and land a 6-figure jobs in tech, right? That's never going to happen. Never. Right? It's just not possible. Wake up. You think you can just go learn a Security Plus certification, pay $100, and someone's going to give you a $200K a year job? Wake up, man. Be so for real, right? People spend months memorizing answers to multiple choice questions and zero time actually building anything real. And then when they inevitably get no interviews, they spam LinkedIn and on my comments on YouTube complaining that the job market is good, I can't get hired, blah, 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 AI's taking your job, right? Well, yes, it's tough if you haven't got the right skills. You're just throwing applications into the abyss. You can always sit the exam later on once you've built real projects. Then it just complements your portfolio. Projects first, always. Now, I know this isn't something that you want to hit, but you need to learn to code. Cloud engineering revolves around automation, scaling, and managing infrastructure. It's 100% possible to work in a cloud role with minimal coding, and I've seen this working with engineers myself. But if you want to stand out, coding gives you a complete distinctive competitive advantage in this technology world. First, Python. When I analyzed over 536 cloud engineering job listings, Python showed up in a huge number of them. Now, don't worry, you're not expected to be a full-blown software developer, and Python is actually the most beginner-friendly coding language. AWS has Bota 3, which is Python's library that lets you interact with every single AWS service through code. So instead of logging into the console and doing something manually, you write a script and it does it for you. Secondly, Bash. The cloud runs on Linux. You need to be able to SSH into a server, troubleshoot an issue, write a script to solve a problem, and not rely on the console for everything. Stop clicking around. Start writing code. Third, and this is the game changer, Terraform. Infrastructure as code is a single most in-demand cloud skill right now. In real production systems, nobody, and I mean nobody's clicking through the AWS console to build infrastructure that is serving users. Don't get me wrong, it's totally okay when you are brand new and you're getting comfortable to use a console. But as soon as you can, start writing your infrastructure as code. One command and it stands up exactly the same way every single time. While everyone else is doing ClickOps, you're building with Python and Terraform. That mirrors what cloud engineers actually do and it puts you in a completely different category. Okay, So just before we get into step 5, where I show you the untapped portfolio project strategy that I gatekeep for my students inside of my academy, you, my friend, have to learn CI/CD, continuous integration, and continuous deployment. Right? How code gets from a developer's laptop to running in front of real users. GitHub Actions is what you want to focus on. It's lightweight, it lives inside of your code repository, and you need to understand how pipelines connect to the infrastructure that you're managing. And next, understanding of containers, a lightweight portable package that bundles your application with everything that it needs to run. Docker is a tool that you use to create them. Now, you don't need to learn Kubernetes as someone new to cloud, right? Stop listening to that advice because that's reserved for senior positions, my friend. Now, pay very close attention to this section because this is what's going to change everything for you. Building projects is the single most important thing that you can do to get hired. A strong portfolio of cloud projects, not a computer science degree, not a certification, is the key to demonstrating your abilities. You have to learn by doing. You can't build practical skills watching someone else. You have to do it yourself. But here's the problem. Most people are either building the wrong project or they just don't know what to build. They follow a YouTube tutorial step by step, click this, click that, add it to their portfolio, and think that's enough. But you didn't actually do any thinking, did you, Anon? You didn't solve a problem. You just copied someone else and you thought that was it. Here's 3 reasons why most cloud portfolios get completely ignored. Number 1, no one can actually tell what you've built. Number 2, it's not clear what technologies you've used and why. And number 3, there are no explanations of the problem that you've solved or the trade-offs that you've made. So here is what I want you to do instead. Go to freelancing platforms like Upwork. Look at cloud engineering projects that companies are posting for right now. What kind of infrastructure are they asking? What challenges are they facing? What projects do they want built? What's the brief? What's the budget? What constraints are they working with? I'm not saying go and bid on these projects, right? I'm saying use these projects as your own briefs. Take a real problem that a real company is facing and go and solve it. This is what I used to do before I started building my consultancy. Build the infrastructure, write the Terraform code, set up CI/CD pipelines, document everything on LinkedIn. When you haven't got IT experience or you've worked in tech but in a non-technical role like GLC, for example, you have to find a way to showcase your ability. And the best way is by solving problems that companies are facing today. You simulate what the actual job is and get hands-on experience solving real problems. And here is what you get from that. You learn how to think. You are no longer following tutorials with someone else showing you what to click. You can actually reason from first principles on what the architecture should look like, what trade-offs that you've considered based on the project brief. The brief says small team, limited budget. Right, so now you're thinking managed services versus self-hosted. Do they have the engineers for a very complex Kubernetes cluster? Or should you go for something simpler with managed EC2, with ECS, or fully serverless? What's expected traffic? Do you need auto-scaling, disaster recovery? These are real decisions that cloud engineers are making every single day. And now you're practicing them before you even have the job. Now compare that to someone who followed a tutorial. They can tell you what they clicked, but not exactly why, right? They can't tell you what alternatives they considered or what they would change if the requirements were different. This is what separates a real engineer from someone who watched a few videos on YouTube. And this is exactly why my students are getting hired in 2026. Now, inside of my Cloud Engineering Academy, the projects are taken directly from my own consulting company. Real problems that real companies are facing for today, and they've paid me hundreds of thousands of dollars for. That's why Trevon, Eric landed their roles last week. That's why Tomislav landed his platform engineer role this week. Mac, Leticia, John, Alex, Jay, LD, Joey, and there's so many more at this point. I can't even remember all of them, but shout out to you guys. Now, once you built your cloud portfolio projects, 3 things that you need to do to help you stand out. Firstly, clear documentation, what you built, which technology you've used and why, and the problems that you solved. Secondly, a video walkthrough using something like Loom. Talk about your architecture, trade-offs, and decision making. Most people are completely afraid to put themselves out there. Why are you scared? And this way, you're also going to be getting interview practice early on because hiring managers will ask you about your portfolio as well. Thirdly, put your projects on GitHub and LinkedIn. Now listen very carefully. In 2026, it's no longer about who you know. It's all about who knows you. Now, one thing on AI, as an engineer, I'd highly recommend that you use AI tools while you learn. Absolutely. Claude, ChatGPT, although I don't trust Sam Altman with anything, so I would say go Claude. It will help you break things down, explain the concepts, reason through decisions. But please do not outsource your thinking to AI. I see AI as a force multiplier. And unfortunately, it multiplies in both directions. If you have very solid fundamentals and you understand what's happening under the hood, AI makes you faster and more productive. If you're not a great engineer with no real understanding, AI is making you worse at a much faster rate. You'll be deploying bad configurations, security vulnerabilities, broken infrastructure because you don't have the foundation to know when AI is wrong. Now, the truth is, we are in a world where everyone's chasing fast dopamine and quick results. But this understanding of what's happening under the hood isn't something that you can pick up without real experience and go beyond the service level and peeling back the layers to develop your knowledge. All right, so now you've got the skills, but there's absolutely no point building all of these skills in isolation, in the dark, if nobody knows what you can do. It doesn't matter how good you are, you're invisible. LinkedIn is where this happens. Over 90% of recruiters search on LinkedIn to find and contact candidates. That means if you have the right headline, the right skills on your profile, and you're posting often with a nice profile picture, recruiters will come to you instead of you chasing them. That's exactly how I've been able to land multiple projects for my consulting company. I talk about my skills all the time. I post about what I'm building, and opportunities just come to me. When I was trying to land a job as a cloud engineer, being active on LinkedIn made my life so much easier. And now the same thing happens to my students. I even had someone reach out to me for a job at Palantir with an insane compensation package. I think it was almost $1 million a year. So obviously this stuff works. Here is what you need: a good professional photo. Just go have a look at mine and other people's pictures for inspiration. Your headline needs to clearly state what you are. Put the skills on your profile, make it easy for recruiters to find you when they are searching. And then just start posting. Document your journey, share what you're learning, share your projects. Talk about the problems that you've solved and how you've solved them. Post your Loom walkthroughs, post your architecture diagrams. Do this consistently and you will build visibility. People will start reaching out to you with opportunities. Now, when it comes to actually applying for jobs, LinkedIn Jobs is where you want to be. I would say stay away from platforms like Indeed. And here's a little hack for you. When you search for jobs on LinkedIn, you will notice that it shows you cloud engineer roles, but also DevOps, software engineering, platform engineering, all sorts mixed in. To filter it properly, put the speech marks around the exact title. So you type cloud engineer with the quotes, and it will only show you roles with that exact phrase. Otherwise, you're wasting time scrolling through irrelevant listings. You can also change the URL parameters on LinkedIn Jobs so you can find roles with the least competition and get your application sent off as soon as a job has been listed. For your resume, don't just have one version. Have 2 versions, have 3 versions. Before you apply for each role, look at the job description. If they specifically mention Terraform and CI/CD pipelines, make sure that your resume highlights those exact skills with examples from your projects. Use the Google XYZ framework. X, what you've accomplished, as measured by Y, and achieved by doing Z. And no, don't put any extra words in the background of your resume to try and get past the ATS filters. And if you've done things properly up until now, and you've got the skills, you won't need this. And then you want to start tracking everything. The same reason people lose weight when they just get on the scales every day and just see the number. You need to track your job applications. Create a spreadsheet, log every single role that you apply for, the hiring manager's name, when you applied, which resume version that you use, whether you got a response, follow-ups, interviews. After a couple of weeks, you'll see patterns emerge, showing you which jobs or resume versions are the most successful, allowing you to then double down on those exact approaches. And then every time that you apply, find a recruiter or the hiring manager on LinkedIn. Send them a Loom video and reference this specific role and briefly explain what you bring. Attach your resume, and that's how you stand out because you're putting yourself on top of the pile. And yes, you need to be persistent. Go out of your way. In fact, what is stopping you from finding the phone numbers of these businesses and just dialing up the hiring managers or even the CEO, telling them that you've applied for the roles and you want the job? Do what others aren't willing to do. Be the person who goes the extra mile. Now, when it comes to interviews, if you built projects the way that I described, using real briefs, reasoning from first principles, you've already been preparing without even realizing. You know what you've built better than anyone else, and that confidence shines through. But here is a few things that actually matter in the room. Firstly, energy. From the second you walk in a room or join a call, the interview has started. If they ask you how you are, say you're great. Always, right? You're not tired, you're not stressed, you're not nervous, you are great. You've got energy. Secondly, when they ask you about your projects or your experience, you don't undersell what you've done. If you've built the architecture, say you've built it. If you've made real trade-offs, own them. Don't wait for someone else to give you the permission to claim your own work. I've seen people who've done genuinely impressive work and then into interview, they just downplay it for whatever reason. Thirdly, have questions at the end. Ask something like, what does success look like in the first 90 days? This shows that you're already thinking about how to deliver, and stop over preparing. All the learning that you've done and the projects that you've built have been preparing you for that moment. At some point, it just becomes a numbers game. Apply for 1,000 jobs. What's stopping you from doing that if you knew you'd get hired? The answer should be absolutely nothing. Now, I want to have a little rant because this needs to be said. I already know there are people watching this thinking of so many reasons why this won't work for them. The market is tough, AI is taking jobs, I don't have a degree, I am too old, I don't have time. Now look, Travon and Eric landed cloud engineering roles last week. Tomislav got hired as a platform engineer this exact week that I'm filming this video. John went from zero experience, never touched a cloud, and he's now working at AWS as a cloud consultant. People are doing it right now. In 2026, the cloud computing market isn't shrinking. It's exploding from $900 billion to over $5.4 trillion over the next decade. Big tech is investing $700 billion on AI and cloud infrastructure in 2026 alone. So the notion that jobs aren't available or AI is replacing everyone, those are just excuses. And hey, if you want to live your life that way, that's totally fine. You could just wait and say, you know what, I'm going to continue to not live the life that I want until I die. And everyone will be like, yeah, fair enough. He had an excuse. That's it. That's your legacy. Is that what you really want? Because let me tell you what excuses really are. They are a permission slip for mediocrity. You want the respect without the outcome. You want to be a special snowflake. And the thing is, some of those excuses might be valid. You might have real disadvantages. Things might genuinely be harder for you. And it's not your fault that they are there, but it's still your problem. It's still your responsibility to succeed despite them. Because what is the alternative? Everyone around you might nod along. Your family will tell you that it's okay. You can't be blamed. It's not your fault. But deep down, they don't believe it. And most importantly, you won't believe it either. When was the last time that you took someone else's excuse seriously for not getting something done? Exactly. Nobody takes excuses seriously, not even the people making them. And when I realized this, it changed everything. For 99% of you watching this, your goals are achievable. You can become a cloud engineer without a degree, without experience. I see it inside of my academy all of the time. The only thing stopping you isn't the market. It's not AI. It's not even your background. It's that you're either not trying or you're focusing on the wrong things. So wake up, get after it. And if you want my help to land a six-figure cloud job, then click the first link in the description and book a call with my team. As always, I'm rooting for you. Good luck.